Hi, and welcome back. I'm so glad you could join me here today. Today we'll be doing a nice little interesting painting. Lots of you have been requesting, such being the nebula. I know I gave it a try, wasn't what you guys expected. So today we're gonna be giving it another try. Hopefully it turns out better this time. I have been practicing off camera, but we'll see how it goes. So let me run the colors across the screen that you'll need to paint along with me. While you're doing that, let me tell you what I got done up here. I have my regular 16 by 20 inch canvas, pre-stretched, double primed, and I added black gesso. On top of the black gesso, I added a thin layer of the liquid clear. On top of the liquid clear, I did a mixture of lavender, some more to the blue, some more to the red, and it just varies. So let's get started with today's painting. I'm gonna go ahead into a little bit of white. I want very little white, and let let's let's just think where our nebula comes out. So I'm just going loose strokes. I just want very, very little. Very, very little. There we go. There. You can make your nebula bigger, smaller. Let's actually make this bigger. Let's make this a bit bigger. There we go. Shoot, what the heck? Get crazy, get loose with it. There. Maybe a little bit over here. We just see a little bit. There. And I just want it very dull. I don't want it to pull too much attention for what's coming up next. Okay? So I'm just trying to see how you guys will view it because my lighting's a bit off today. So I'm gonna go ahead into a little bit of phthalo blue on my filbert brush. And let's come up here and just tap out where our nebula would go. Just a little bit of phthalo blue. Very little. But think of this like an outline. Okay? You can do this one solid color. I like a mix between blue and red. That's me personally. Okay? And let's go into a little bit of alizarin crimson. Same dirty brush. Maybe a little bit of bright red. And let's come up here and just right under the blue, just tap it in. There we go. I think that'll look perfect in my opinion. For what I'm looking for, you know? You guys saw how it came out when I practiced. I posted it on the community post. So it came out pretty good. This was my strategy, or the way I did it, I should say. Okay, let me wipe off my brush a bit. And I'm gonna load my brush into titanium white. Load it full of paint. Full of paint. And let's come up here and tap it. Now it's very important you have, whether you want your nebula to look blue or whatever, it's very important you have that one color underneath it because it creates a look sort of shadows and all that. You'll see right now what I'm talking about. Um, but don't just go straight in white. It won't look right. And make sure you're using a lot of white so it can stand out. There. There we go. Just tap that in. Okay. Now, let's go into a clean filbert brush. Clean, dry filbert brush, as you may see. And we're going to go ahead and just tap the base of it. You basically just want that line. This is where the colors come to play. There. There we go. Just tap it. You can choose how um how blended out you want it or how bright you want it. It's all up to you. You can decide that. There. There we go. Just tap. There. Let it go off to nowhere. When you're doing this, have a brush just for strict blending. You're gonna need one for the paint and for blending. Now, I'm gonna go ahead back into my white and pick out certain spots I want to show up better. Maybe right there a bit. You decide. When you're painting, you're gonna see it a little different than how I'm seeing it. Okay? Load up your brush. There. Okay? Like so. Okay. I think that looks good. Back to blending though. So just tap it out. Tap it out. Just like so. There. There we go. Look at that. You know what? And you could change it. Maybe this comes out here and it has one there. Now, you have to have that color combination. Right here, a little bit of blue underneath. And I also want some crimson under there. Just to make it like a lavender feel to it. Okay? Right now, my number one priority for this nebula is not about speed, but more of getting it right. Speed comes with practice, and you just have to practice it over and over until you nail it. Okay? Back on the white. Gee, I could spend all day doing this. There we go. There, I think that looks good. Let's see how you guys view it. Okay. It looks a bit more vibrant on my side, my end. Let's add, shoot, let's get crazy. Let's add one, maybe that lives off here. There we go. It kind of dies off. I want some spots more with blue. Just some spots, not all of it. And then let's go back into our white and add that little line. There we go. There. Let's come up here. Lightly blend it. There. Shoot. Just like so. I want some red, some more red on some spots. It got too blue. So maybe like here a bit, maybe here, and maybe a couple spots there. You can always change it back and forth, back and forth. Okay? There we go. Back to wiping off my brush so I can add that white. You gotta load your brush heavily with white so it could stand out. Okay? A little bit more white off here. There. There we go. We'll leave it at that. We'll leave it at that for now. And actually, let me grab my napkins or my blue shop towels, however you want to call them. And all I want to do is just kind of smudge some of it. Just smudge a bit. There. Clean off my brush a bit, my blending one. There. Something crazy. Make it interesting, you know? Now, I'm gonna grab my fan brush, take it through some paint thinner and some titanium white paint. Thin it out. Thin out that paint. Like last time, this paint does not want to thin out. I've been looking to buy new paint, maybe it's that. But just flick on a couple stars. There we go. Load up a bit more paint. There. Isn't that gorgeous? And just like that, you have yourself a nebula. But knowing me, I can't just leave it at the nebula. So we're gonna do a little scenery on top of that. So it's going to some midnight black and a little touch of blue. Midnight black and blue. Cut a row. Let's decide where a nice little mountain would live. Okay. You decide. And maybe you just want the nebula. That's completely okay. Let's go ahead. Let's grab a 1 inch brush. Or this brush dried up. 1 inch brush and just grab and pull that paint. There we go. We're covering up most of the work. There. Shoot. Now, since the nebula would be so bright, we would see lots of highlights. Let me darken this up so we can see contrast. There we go. If not, there'll be no contrast in. And that's no good. No good. Just lightly tap and pull. That's better. So now when we put our highlights, there's some contrast. So I'm gonna go into some titanium white. That got a little bit of that paint thinner on there. Let me clean up that area real quick. Little shop towel, lightly clean it off. I have napkins, shop towels, and all that over here. Cut a roll. Let's come up here ever so gently. Ever so lightly, lightly. Gotta act like your hand's gonna float off. Actually, scratch that. I want a little bit of midnight black in that color. There. That's too dark now. You have to find that in between if you're gonna do that. Cut a row. Okay, that's better. And we'll put white highlights over it. There we go. Ever so lightly. Okay. Now, let's go ahead. Let's add a little blue to that. Little crimson to that. A little bit of black. Let's pick this up. Boom. Let's come. Actually, a little more darker. You do it to whatever color you're satisfied with. And we're gonna go back to the highlights. I don't. I'm not satisfied completely. Let me move this light and just brighten it up a bit. Okay. Put a little bit of that in there. There. I'm just using um, midnight black. I gave up on that color. Plus, I would think it's more darker. I like it, and that's all that matters. There we go. Make sure you get that nice little roll, and it's very, very light pressure. A little bit of midnight black on that. Very little. Mostly white. Cut a roll. Let's go over and add a little extra highlights. There. Maybe over here. There we go. I just want something light. You know what? Let's go ahead. Let's do a lavender. Some blue. Some crimson. A little bit more blue. There. And some white. Leave it marbled. I think at the very top we'd see a little bit of that nebula color. Little bit. There. Little bit of midnight black. There. I like that. Let's tap down just to diffuse. There. There we go. Very lightly. How much time are we? 21 minutes. Down. A little bit of sap green with midnight black. Let's come up here and let's add in a little foothill. Remember, that dark paint will have a nice little contrast. Okay, I want to darken that up a bit. There we go. There. Lift up. Little bit of cadmium yellow. Very little. You choose what spots you want the brightest. I think those spots would look bright. And just use it to kind of highlight. There we go. Pull down. There. Now, let's go ahead into some phthalo blue. Let's come up here. Let's add some blue. We're gonna make it pretty light. Just scrub it on. I don't really care too much about this. And I'm gonna put this out. This isn't gonna be my last time I do a nebula. I feel like, me personally, I'm never satisfied with what I do, and each time I'm just gonna get better. So I don't stop doing something completely, at least. I might stop for a little while, but not completely. A little bit of white and blue, and just putting in a couple lines just to make it look like light reflecting. I always think there there's no right way as long as it gets you the right look. You know what I mean? Doesn't matter how you get to it as long as you get to it. There could be a million different ways. There we go. There. just going at it. There we go. You don't have to do this if you don't want to. It's just me being me. Okay, ever so lightly. Let's get this. Just a basic idea. Doesn't really matter. And let's get this off here. Yeah, what the heck. Let's go into a little bit of cadmium yellow, a little bit of sap green. Load it up in your brush. There we go. There. Just pull down lightly. Okay, just another couple fixes. And just a couple here and there. Maybe there's some land off here. There we go. A little bit of brown, and I think that'll conclude today's painting. A little bit of dark sienna with mountain with midnight black. There. Okay. Ever so lightly. Well, that concludes today's painting. If I would have had a little more time um, with the video, I know you guys are gonna come at me for this, but I probably could have done a better landscape. But at the same time, it comes out the way it comes out, and usually I fix the paintings afterwards once they're dry. So once this is dry, I'm gonna film another video of me fixing it once it's completely dry, and I'll show you how I improve the landscape behind me. But until then, I'd like to wish each and every one of you the best of luck, and I hope you enjoyed this painting and the nebula. Take care, my friend. Goodbye.